a little sip of coffee. Good morning. Hi friends, I'm Selena, the dyer behind Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. And this is Through the Wardrobe Knits, which is my knitting podcast, my little corner of the internet where I show you what I've been knitting, what I've been dyeing, what I'm up to, etc, etc. And I thought we'd just jump straight into it today because I'm actually very much in the middle of packing pre-orders. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm also behind on filming a podcast, so I thought, let's do it. So we're going to jump straight into finished objects, mainly because anyone who's watched any of the previous podcasts know that this has been my most long-standing whip on the podcast, and I finally finished it last week. I'm just going to stand up and show you. This is my Strier cardigan. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to get a full look at it. This is the Strier cardigan by Dre Renee Knits, Andrea Mowry. Oh no, I think it's a coffee because I've got a little frog in my throat. There we go. So I started this on, I think I started on the release date in September. It was end of September, early October. I started it as part of the Insta Friends Cal, which is the La Mercerie shop, I think. They are in Washington and they do one every year, and they picked this one. And I started it with my lovely friend Ina, who I think is pretty close to finishing hers too, but we both jumped into it, sped through the bodies, and then put it down for the arms. And I finally came back to it this year and I finished the sleeves. Now let me tell you, these sleeves, I mean, they're not really long. I've got short arms. They should have been quick. They were a slog. The decreases and the half fisherman's rib, oh, it took me a lot longer than it should have done, especially because I knit mine significantly more cropped than the pattern calls for. But honestly, it was worth it. I love it. I love it so much. I'm going to start up again just so I can kind of talk through some of the things. So I used two colours from the Yarn Addict Co. I used Ivory and Rouge. And then I bought these little buttons from Garntopia, which is a yarn store here in Norway. And I just think it's so super duper cute. I've seen on many of them where they have different coloured stripes, but I wanted something that was going to be very wearable for me, and the plan has always been to wear it with summer, spring dresses. I wear dresses and skirts pretty much all year round now, but most of my dresses are kind of spring, summer, and a lot of them are blue, and so I thought this would really complement it well. And I mean, I adore it. There are a few things that I made changes for my body, and I think I'm just gonna arrange myself a bit better. I think when I knit my second one, which I've already ordered yarn for, I'll tell you about that in a second, I am going to do some more adjustments. So the biggest adjustment I made was I stopped my arm decreases and actually general body decreases significantly earlier than the pattern called for. My arm circumference is about 13.5 inches and the pattern called for about 20 inches in the bicep area, which would have just been so big and so like overwhelming. I think I would have spent a long time knitting something and then never worn it to be truthful with you. And actually, if I put my arms together, there is still a bit more bunching than I would have liked. So when I knit my next one, I'm going to stop the arm decreases even earlier. What you do is you decrease on like this side and this side, but not necessarily at the same frequency. So what I did is I stopped decreasing on the arms while still decreasing on the body, because in terms of my plus sizeness, it's mostly around my chest and belly where I'm large, and so my arms circumference and my kind of like yoke depth, I guess, I'm not sure what that is sort of about 2, maybe 3 sizes down in patterns, because I'm short and I'm like from a petite family, so I've got relatively narrow, oh there's a cat coming in, relatively narrow shoulders and narrow hips, but a large middle. and so I do have to do a fair amount of adjusting, and I would have adjusted earlier, but I didn't notice how drastic the sleeves were. And then I started looking at some of the testers, and I noticed many of them had, especially the larger size, had this kind of bunching, and I was like, oh, I don't think I want that. So I'm really glad that I decreased earlier, and I am going to decrease even earlier on my next one. What I do love about it though is it's hard to kind of show really because I'm, as I say, quite large here, but it has got a nice amount of ease, so it has a good kind of hang on my body without being oversized. And if I just pop the buttons open, talk about the buttons again in a second, I really think it looks nice open as well. I think with my next one, I haven't decided if I'm going to knit it longer or keep it cropped. As you can see with the crop as it is, I am going to get some stretching over my stomach if I knit it longer. But I think it would look really gorgeous open. Another thing is the buttons kind of pull when they don't need to, because it's not stretched at all over my bust, but I'm not sure if that's just because of the ribbing or that I've kind of sewn the buttons on. I don't love putting buttons on cardigans. Sorry, I'm really like not, there we go, is that better? Yes. So overall I love it. Also this is a me problem rather than a pattern problem. Picking up a button band, obviously there was an extra button which I didn't realise till later was way too high. I think that would make it look, well, it's not the shape for me, so I'm going to close that up, but it just looks a bit messy. I'm not really sure why, and it wasn't enough for me to want to take it out and try again. It looks a lot better since I blocked it. In terms of blocking, I actually knit this probably to about this length when my arms were down, but when I blocked it, probably because it's ribbed, I noticed that the arms just expanded. In fact, I had to kind of like pull them back a bit while it was drying. And the same with the body. I didn't block any length into this body because it just went so I just lay it flat to dry. But potentially if I wanted to, I think I could probably block a little length in. I mean, I don't want to, but you could. So that's that. I could talk about this forever. I love it so much. A few eagle-eyed people noticed that I started wearing it basically as soon as I finished, and I've just talked for like 8 minutes about this, but really I love it so much that I ordered yarn for a second one from the Fibre Fox her spring pre-order, and I am going to try and put like a picture here to show you the colours that I got. Both me, Georgie and our friend Madison are all going to be knitting Epsiode in those colours, so it's going to be kind of a similar kind of creamy base, and then it's going to have different minis all the way down in these gorgeous pastel spring tones. And the pre-order is still open, so if you want to join us on our unofficial Epsiode spring cal, pop on over to Georgie's website and get yourself some. So yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm not actually going to get mine until June because I'm going to pick it up when I'm in Sheffield for the Wool Monty. But I've got so many other whips that's fine. And so let's move swiftly on to the whips. Oh, a quick apology by the way, because I can really see it while I'm filming, is I've got my glasses on today. They're new, I love them, but it does mean that I've got a bit of a ring light showing in my face. But I've run out of contact lenses, so I couldn't put contacts in today. Anywho, let me show you first my purse project. It's another pair of socks. These, I just put it on the blocker so I could show the colours off properly. I am using my new teeny tiny ChiaoGoo circulars, which I love, and I am knitting this in it is another wool yarn Addict Co. Oh my gosh, my brain is not working today. This was from her club last year. It was I think it was a bouquet club. It was like based on images of flowers, like bouquet, so yeah, it was the bouquet club. And I think we figured out that this was May or June. It's very nice, and my daughter saw it and was like, oh, I want socks in that. I am still knitting her the ruffle socks, but I have mislaid them. I don't know where they are, so I can't finish them. But this, I've just done a cute little picot edge and just a basic I don't actually know, I think it's a short rose heel. I just copied it from a pattern. Maybe it's actually from the petite knit pattern, I can't remember. And now I'm just knitting it. This is a slow project. It's really just when I'm out. I sat out in the garden the other day while she was on the scooter, and I just knit. So it's so nice, and I don't have to think about it. I can just go. Oh, my next whip, I was going to show you this first, but I got distracted. This is kind of an almost done whip. I thought it would be done, but I couldn't face any more Italian bind off after binding off this whole situation. So it's not quite done, but I'll show it to you anyway. So this is the, I'm trying to think how to pronounce this, Ithilien vest by Fable Knitwear. I really like the colour. It was a one-off in the pans, which I just think came out beautifully. This is knit with merino linen and mohair. Yes, I think adding mohair probably just like takes away from the linen aspect, but it's cute. And all I need to do is pick up around these edges and add on the ribbing. I'm going to show you what it looks like on, actually. I wouldn't probably wear it with this dress. I have some really nice kind of shirt dresses that I was thinking of wearing it with, but I met Helena, who is the designer, at the knitting festival I was at a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about vests and vests that we like, and then I saw someone had knit this one, and I was like, that's it, because I love vests and I see them a lot, but often they're kind of high necked and kind of chunky, and that's just not my personal style. So this is the Ithilien, and again I knit it relatively cropped, and like I said, it's not meant for this dress. It looks kind of odd, but I really like the back of it, and I love the front. I did some minor adjustments, which I've noted down, but I can't remember off the top of my head, because it only took me like 2 days to knit, unlike the Stria, which took me like, you know, almost half a year. This one only took a couple of days to knit. I just really like it. I'm looking forward to putting on the you can see it's a little busty on the ribbing, and wearing it over, you know, cute little shirt dresses with an A-line skirt. I don't know that the colour choice was necessarily my best idea for my, it's very skin toned, but I'm thinking over this green kind of like khaki coloured shirt I have, it'll be nice. So I really like this. I love the merino linen, so I have actually ordered more of that to have at my spring summer markets this year, because I wasn't sure about a merino linen. I've tried knitting with linen before, like linen blends before, and not really enjoyed them, but this one I like. It was really soft, and I didn't get any like pain in my hands. Often that's the issue, is that I will get like an ache in my fingers from knitting with anything that's not very like soft and bouncy, but I didn't, and I really like it, so I will probably knit another one. I think, or she has another vest, what is it, the Hobbiton, I think, maybe she was wearing it, and it had like moss stitch, and I really liked it. I love a good vest, but I want something that fits my style and aesthetic, and unfortunately a lot of these kind of like chunky high waist ones just don't. I've said that before, but I'll say it again. So that was one whip that's almost an FO, and then I've got 2 more whips to show you. I'm trying to find them, because as you can see I have a mountain of project bags. Let's do this one. So this in my Fibre Fox project bag is my shawl project that I'm working on. I don't love shawls, but I ordered this yarn specifically for a shawl, and then I almost thought, do I want to make it sweater? And I decided, no, do a shawl. So this is the beginnings of my Bronte Sisters shawl. It's going to be a triangle, so this is the top. What it has is this really lovely like house shaped, you see it, the little house shaped lace, and it alternates sides. And so let me see if I grab out the picture. Absolute plus for this pattern is that, without giving you the pattern, it's line by line, which I love. I have tried this house lace previously and really it wasn't the same designer, it was a different designer with the same type of lace, and it just drove me nuts. I kept getting it wrong. I couldn't figure out where the mistakes were, so I couldn't like drop back and fix it. But this is line by line, so it's really easy to see if you make a mistake. So this is what it looks like. I'm trying to make sure I get it in frame. I picked very similar colours. I'm starting with a pink, and then I'm moving on to kind of a grey tone, and I've got a pinky red. I'll show you them now. So this is by Lindsay Fowler, who is Larkspur Knits, and the yarn I'm using is from my lovely friend Brandy, Long Dog Yarn. Ooh, try not to drop it all over. She had it's called a cozy collection, and I just fell in love with some of her pinks and sort of soft tones. So the one that I'm knitting with currently is very similar actually, is this one. It's called Sugared Snow. It looks a little peachier actually in the picture, but it's not. It's a very super duper soft pink. You can kind of see it better on this. You see it's like a real like blushy pink. And then my next section is this one. Trying to see if I can show you this, because I should have taken a picture of it in hank form really. This is Frosted Window Pane, which is like a grey with kind of pink peachy tones. And I have to say, when I bought this one, I thought it would be nice, but I didn't think I would fall so head over heels in love with it. I am dying for a sweater quantities worth. She had extras. I was so close to buying it, but I was like, you've just bought yarn for another studio cardigan. Cannot afford to buy yarn. And you see it's got these kind of little golden tones. So beautiful. And then my like middly section of the bottom is going to be in this colour, which is called Rose Gold. I haven't caked this one up because shawls tend to take me a long time, and I didn't want it to sit in cake form. It is mohair sock, which is 55% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 20% kid mohair. So it has just, I can't even resist it. That's just the tiniest amount of fuzzy halo. It's really soft. I think it's going to make a really cozy shawl. From the pictures I've seen, this shawl is massive, and I've already said I'm a small person, so I have a feeling it's going to be kind of more of a blanket, shawl blanket, than necessarily like a shawl I'm going to wear on the daily. But that's fine. This is a kind of long-term project. I'm not planning on rushing through it. I'm hoping that I can just kind of work on it into winter and then use it when the months get colder. I'm just trying to not tangle all of this yarn. Yeah, I'd like to show you this. This is a little bird I knit like many years ago from a Advent Mini. I really like it. It's I think called like the Bluebird of Happiness or something along those lines on Ravelry. Super cute, and it's a really great way to use up scraps. I filled it with my yarn scraps. So that was that whip. Oh yes, this whip is something I'm actively working on right now, and I'm really excited about. Oh gosh, excuse me. Just have a quick sip of coffee. Try and drown the frog. So this is in my booby bag, which is by NSP Designs, but they no longer are active. I bought it when they were closing. So I was talking to Georgie about a faded sweater. We've been discussing one for a while, and we've been talking about doing a faded sorrel, and then she decided that she was going to do one using her last year's advent colours. And as you know, I knit a scarf shawl thing in my advent from her, and so I couldn't do the same as hers. I didn't have enough leftover colours, but I did have 4 full mini skeins because I didn't use all of them, maybe 5 actually, plus some extras, and I decided that I was going to use those and then dye up a colour to match. So I started with this, which was like 10 grams, and then this kind of purple, which is another 10 grams to start off the neckline. And then I moved into this kind of grey colour, and then I made a mistake. What I did is I used this colour here, which is too white, and I didn't realise until I'd knit it in. I mean, it's very obvious, isn't it? And then we have this like white stripe, and I was planning on doing 3 dip stitches of each colour, but I realised very quickly that I didn't want 3 of this one, so I just went straight into the next one, which is more blue. I could have ripped it out, but I don't rip out anything unless I really need to, so I've just left it in. It does irritate me, but I think I'm on the, like, I'm using up so much. I don't have any slack in my wire, so I can't put it on my on, but I think because it's quite high up in the pattern, I think in the grand scheme of things it actually won't be that noticeable, except probably to me. So yeah, literally just drop. This is why you have to be careful, because I just lost like, I don't know, 8 stitches, just popped right off. Just double check that I've got them all back. Yep. So just scooching closer so I can show you my little fade-ish. So we just ignore that little white stripe because that was a mistake. So we have this really pretty silvery grey, and now we're moving into this kind of silvery blue. That's what I'd show you. So the silvery blue I'm using is, is this one. See, it looks very white, and actually the white stripe, they together next to each other, they look exactly the same. And when I first got it, I was like, are these the same colour? But on knitting them up, I was showing they're absolutely not. And then I'm currently about to fade into this kind of silvery blue with little blue speckles. And then, because that's like the leftovers of my, that I can use, I do have a couple of blues, but they're too bright, I think, and they're going to be too sort of drastic. I'm trying to put this down in a way that I won't like just drop everything. So then I decided to dye up a colour to go with it, which will also incorporate this kind of purpley colour. So I dyed up this colour, which is, it looks very purple on screen. It's not quite as purple in reality. It's more of a grey purple. And so I think it's not going to be a perfect fade, but this stripe already stops that, but it's going to blend in nicely, and it should kind of bring it back round to the purples in the top. So that's going to be the body, and I think it's going to be very nice. Like I said, it's not going to be a proper fade, but I think it's going to look very sort of, it's going to be nice. So I done this, and then in order to try and get them to sort of blend in nicely, we also dyed up a mohair. I'm going to put this down because I'm really worried I'm going to drop more stitches. I'm just going to pop you down here. I dyed up a mohair, which I'm holding throughout the whole sweater, which is actually the same. Well, see that's it's really hard to show. It's very grey. It's the same colour, but at a lower, what's the word, depth of colour. So it's the same, but this one reads much more grey, and I think these are going to be called Signet, so I really love them, and it kind of remind me of like a baby swan. So that's what I'm using. This colour actually does look quite similar to, where is it? I'm sure I've got it here, another purple of mine, which I seem to have misplaced. Is it? Nope. Oh, I could have sworn I had it here, but I guess I put it somewhere else. It does look kind of similar to my, that's really annoying. No, I really don't have it. I could have sworn I got it out to show you. Similar to my lavender shortbread colour, but the lavender shortbread is more purple and this is more grey. However, right now it's looking very purple, but I promise you it's more grey. So I'm really happy with this. I'm going to be dyeing up some more of these, both for the yarn festivals coming up, and then of course in the update that I do on my website, which will be in May. I think it's going to be the very beginning of May. So yes, that is, it's driving me crazy that I don't know where I put this. Pulled it out specifically. Oh well, that's life. How odd is it here? Oh, here we go. Here we go. So this is my lavender shortbread colour. And you can see they kind of look similar, but no, they do look really similar. This one is much more purple and this one's more grey. My phone is like, no, Selena, I refuse. Anyway, I'm really happy with those colours. And this is another project that I'm doing. Ooh. So that is it for whips. I think I'm still working on my blanket for the Blankets of Dreams make along. I haven't done much on it, to be honest. And I'm working on various socks and hats. But yeah, that's basically it. Now, I didn't think I was going to have much yarn acquisitions. I feel like I say this every week, every podcast. I didn't think I was going to have many yarn acquisitions to show you. And then yesterday, when I went to the post box, I had like 4 packages. So I do have a fair few. Let me just grab the box, put them in, put it somewhere I can reach for them easily. So I'll start with the first one. This is a new dyer who is local to me. She's kind of hobby dyeing, but it's really beautiful and I could not resist. We've met quite a few times at yarn shows. She's super, super sweet. Her name is, now, here's the thing, Norwegian words often like put 2 words together. And I don't know, I'm not sure if this is Strikke Remme or Strikkere Emma. So I apologise if I've got it wrong. This is a DK weight merino with these gorgeous blue speckles and purple speckles. And it is called Blåkokke spett, which means like bluebell speckles. And I think it's beautiful. And I got it because I was like, oh, I'm going to knit a hat in that. So that is going to be a hat. And it's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and pop her website in the podcast notes because she's got tons of gorgeous yarn. And I won't be surprised if a few years, maybe less, she is dyeing full time because she's got a lot of talent. Next up, speaking of talent, is this stunner from Hannah, Corner of Craft. She had a pre-order a while ago of her spells or charms or something from D&D. I don't play it, so I don't really know. This was called Poison Resistance, and it's just so cool. It's a yak sock, which is just an extra level of depth. And I got this with 0 plans. But I am thinking socks. Maybe for my husband. I don't know. But I just couldn't put it down. It's got this kind of like oil slick quality to it. Love it. Merino. Next up, my February yarn from Paisley Knits arrived. Gorgeous. This is called Dionysus, I think. I still don't know how to pronounce that. He was the god of, I think it's like revelry. I meant to look it up and I forgot. Not revelry, but it's like associated with wine and stuff. So it's got tons of gorgeous grapey, winey tones, and I love it. And I think it's going to be an outline bralette. That's that one. Then yesterday in the post, I got these gorgeous, gorgeous skeins of mohair. I often don't buy mohair from other people. I don't really know why. These are from Lyckagarn, who is another local dyer. And she had a March mystery box with just like an image that she had. And I bought these with the intention of knitting them into a sweater for one of my kids. I haven't decided the sweater yet or whether it's going to be for my kids, but I think they are gorgeous. And they go quite well with my February yarn from Fiberfox. Do you think like they kind of match really nicely? So this is Once Upon a Dream on Luck Sock, which is a 75% merino, 25% nylon. I mean, Georgie forever knocks it out of the park for me. Just love, oh, the speckles, so pretty. And that is it for my acquisitions. What I wanted to show you when I pulled out from behind me are some of the things that are going to be available. It's not the best dress to wear, I don't think. Some of the things that are going to be available at yarn shows and on my updates coming up. Things I've dyed. Quick note in regards to my faded sorrel. One of the reasons I wanted to start this is because I wanted to test out the idea of a faded one, as I have been working on my advent calendar for 2022. I know it's early, but us dyers have to start early, and I am going to be doing a fade, and my plan for myself is to knit a faded sorrel. So I thought I would just pop some information for you. I did mention it on the old Instagram yesterday. This year I am doing a faded mini skein advent inspired by Mean Girls. So if you like pink, this is for you. If you don't like pink, it's probably not for you. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's going to be a lights to brights fade, so from very pale pinks up to much brighter pinks, all inspired by the movie Mean Girls. I mean, coming up with names. I've started putting some together already, and it is not hard. There are a lot of quotable things from that movie. But my plan is to knit a faded sweater, potentially a faded sorrel, so it will go from a light pink to a brighter pink, and I'm excited by that. I'm also going to be offering the option this year of adding on a coordinating mohair skein, if one wishes, so they could also knit a garment or whatever. I think with fades, having a mohair to carry along with it really helps kind of blend the fade nicely. So yes, there'll be more information about that on my Instagram and Facebook over the next month or so, and it is going to be released on the 19th of May, it's my birthday. There will be installment options. I haven't quite put it all together yet, but it's there and it's coming. So if you like pink, this one is for you. And if you like brights, these are for you. I have been working on some little mini skein sets. I love doing mini skein sets, but I always have the time. But these ones, I was testing out some new colourway ideas, and I came up with this. I'm calling these Summer Brights. Simple. So we have 5 mini skeins. People often ask, like, what can I do with mini skeins? These are all merino socks, so you can knit socks, you know, great idea to do like striped socks, colourwork socks, whatever. But you can also knit a strier with minis, where you use a different mini for each stripe. You can knit a faded or a striped sorrel, whatever. Like, minis are so versatile, and I just think they are great. So I did this one, which is like really bright, but then I just couldn't not do a pastels, if you know what I mean. So I also did this one. This one I am calling my Petit Filou mini set. I did a similar set of colours last Easter. My friend just recently knit them up into a pair of socks, which she calls her yogurt socks, and I have not been able to stop thinking about these as like yogurt colours. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think it's sweet. So we've got this fun yellow, little pale purple, nice green, pink, and then this kind of peachy orange, which I really like. So these, I currently only have one of each, but I shall be dyeing up some more this weekend, as well as one that is kind of in between these two, not quite as pale, not quite as bright. So they will be available at yarn shows in April, and then on my update in May, if they're not sold. But I'll probably do some more of them because I really enjoy it. I mean, they kind of look great together. If you wanted to do like a pastels and bright situation, that could be really nice. And then what I wanted to show you is I've also been on a very purpley mood lately, which is what I was kind of clambering for. And so I've been working on some different kind of one-of-a-kind purples, which again, first dibs will be at yarn shows, but anything that doesn't sell will be on the website. I mean, these together look really nice. They would be really hard to knit together if they're very different blends, but I have this one, which is a yak sock. What I really like is that it has these kind of like winey tones, as well as this really nice deep kind of purple. Very nice. Yak sock, like I said, is merino yak nylon. And then I have this one. This is a very much one of a kind because I only have one skein of this particular type of yarn. It was a test skein, and I picked something else in the end just because I didn't need two similar blends. But this is baby alpaca, silk and linen. I can't remember the exact one. I think it's 80% alpaca, 10% silk, 10% linen. That could be wrong. So it has these like kind of flaxy linen heathered bits, and it's very floppy because it's got silk, and it's very cool because of the silk, and it has a very pretty, it's kind of a similar, they weren't in the same pot, but they had that similar kind of tone where we've got these kind of winey tones and then this really pretty purple. And then because I was absolutely on a purple kick, I also dyed some purple mohair, which I'm really happy with. I can't find any of the bits, but I was really thinking of like crocuses when I dyed this, so I added a splash of a kind of goldeny yellow colour. And for some reason I've got 3 skeins. I tried to find it earlier to show, and I can't. Oh, here we go. You see it has these kind of little pops of kind of like a goldeny colour, which when you're knitting it up you wouldn't get a great deal of, but you would get a tiny amount, and I just think it's really cute. Kind of gives that crocus vibe. So I have 3 skeins of this, which is a one of a kind. For some reason in the light they look like they're different colours, but I promise they're all from exactly the same batch. They're all exactly the same. As well as that, I have lots of oops skeins from my Northern Lights collection, extra skeins. I've got some blues, I've got a ton of pinks. We are very much going kind of spring, summer, fantastic. It's very much my season, so I'm really enjoying dyeing everything. And yeah, that's basically it. I feel like it's been a little chaotic, but hopefully not too bad. I'm gonna try and be back in about 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll have some finished. I mean, we won't. Well, maybe I'll have my Island vest finished, pair of socks, potentially my sorrel. If I keep working on it the way I am, I could do, because again, I'm just knitting it cropped. I'm gonna wear it with dresses and skirts, so there's no point me trying to knit a long version. And that's it. So thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope the ring light has not been too irritating, and yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. Let me know in the comments what you've been knitting. I always like to know what you've been knitting, and yeah, bye.